What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Lends Money Show. I'm so excited to be bringing you guys a bi-weekly podcast where I'll be highlighting industry professionals, hot topics, and trending topics, and ultimately helping you guys win in real estate and mortgages all 2023. But enough with that. Let's get straight to the point today. I got none other than my brother from another mother, Blake Miller, in the house, where we'll be going through what to expect in 2023 and how you guys can prepare to win.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, Blake? How we doing, brother?
So let's go.
We back.
Another podcast, another day, dude. Happy to be here on the Brian Lends Money?
The Brian Lends Money. It's a whole new concept that we got going on for 2023. We decided to just bump our content all 2023. I got, an amazing partner behind the lens, and I'm just super excited to be able to give bi-weekly podcasts to our community, to our clients, to our past clients, and anybody that just wants to, win overall, bro.
Yeah. Hell yeah,
so
bro.
with that being said, we have a few topics to get through today, and I'm really excited to get into this because I feel it's the beginning of the year where we're going to be able to give an outlook of what people can expect, how they can prepare themselves, and ultimately come up with the right plan so that they can execute all their goals.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and get right into the topics. And
Let's
the
do
first
it.
one is how is the economy impacting real estate market in 2023, and how is it expected to evolve?
Yeah, well, the economy, as you guys I'm sure have seen, interest rates have gone up.
100%. That's true.
So, for us on the real estate side of things, being in the realtor side of things, for us, one thing that I like to be is I always like to have a positive outlook on what the economy is going to do. And no matter what the economy is doing, we're going to keep doing what we need to do, which is buying and holding real estate, investing in real estate. Investing in real estate is one of the tried and true ways to build generational wealth, whether or not the economy is doing well or not, because during these, economic crises or during these recessions, this is where a lot of investors come into the market and gain market share, because this is where they're going to get, prices at a lower price, homes at a lower price, right? Because interest rates going up means that home prices are going down, right? So that being said already, one thing you can always do is buy a home at a lower price, and you can always refinance the interest rate down the line. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're stuck with it forever. Now, if it's on the flip side and you have a lower interest rate and you lock in a higher purchase price, you are stuck with that forever. So the economy, yes, it does play a factor, but I think if you look at all the moving pieces and look at the full picture, you'll actually find that most of the smart, intelligent, and wealthy people are buying real estate during a recession.
No, 100%. And as far as the economy, we know that inflation is through the roof, and we've seen rates that we haven't seen in years. So that's already eating up at people's household income. So I feel that has been, one of the biggest factors to why people are, thinking about whether they should buy or whether they shouldn't buy, and if it's a right time for them right now. And as we know, the Jerome Powell from the Fed is coming up to the plate to speak on February 1st to speak about, what rates are going to be looking like for the remainder of the year, or at least for, the short period until their next meet, which leads into the next question. Where are mortgage rates expected to be in 2023, and how do we, foresee them changing? So I'll go ahead and step into this one.
Answer that one.
So, like I said, speaking about the Fed and Jerome Powell, as they're seeing inflation readings, and, inflation hasn't came down. It's been growing at a slower pace, but we haven't seen a decline in past readings, right? So it really comes down to what information comes out up until February 1st, which is going to determine the fate of what the Fed is going to do with the rate and monetary policy. I believe for the remaining of the year, and I'm not quoting anybody, I'm just giving you my personal point of view where I believe rates are going to be, is depending on what your credit score is and what it is that your transaction is looking like. I expect rates to be anywhere between 5 to 7%. And we'll see the fluctuation between the year of them going up and down, because as you know, rates can change daily and even hourly. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. So I would advise everybody to find credible sources where they could get their information and understand how the market is working in terms that you understand for yourself.
Yep, absolutely. No, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think right now it's just critical, guys. We've said it before in the past. It's like you really got to know who you're working with. You have to start talking and getting involved in the industry. Have a positive outlook, and I agree with Brian's prediction as well. I hope things.
I could be 100% wrong, but I could also be 100% right.
Yeah, and I think whether the economy goes up or goes down, I mean that's not going to stop somebody from buying a house because there's still people that need to buy homes and there's still people that need to sell.
And that's actually one of the topics I was speaking about on the Mortgage Heroes podcast with Andy and Will. That regardless of the situation, people are still going to need to sell and buy. Why? Because maybe you lost your job and now you don't know if you're going to be able to keep up with your mortgage. So, hey, I'm going to have to sell, make sure I have enough to cover my bills and expenses because I don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months. And these are realities that are going to start happening. I mean, we're already seeing some of the biggest companies, Google, Amazon, lay off thousands of workers. So that's only going to create a trickle-down effect into people losing income, losing their houses, and ultimately stop paying their bills because of money not coming in.
Yep.
So that being said, let's jump into the next question, which is a little bit more on a lighter note.
All right.
So what are some tips for first-time home buyers on how they can navigate the market and find the best deals in today's 2023 market here?
Well, that is the money question. That's the money question right there. I think there's a few different ways, you can succeed and have a good strategy in today's market. Tying into what Brian said earlier, where, the interest rates really messing with the buying power of, home, especially first-time home buyers that don't have this much income.
Yeah, of
that
course.
interest rate really does eat up a lot of that buying power. Now, something that's becoming more common now more than ever is the 2-1 buy down, which, if you guys are following us or if you follow that Mortgage Heroes podcast, I'm sure they've talked about it.
We just did an episode last Wednesday. Make sure you go check it out. YouTube channel.
Below.
Put it right here.
Right there. 2-1 buy down is very common. Now, it's not a permanent fix by any means. Nope. It's just a Band-Aid. And the idea is obviously to get that lower interest rate for a short period of time. And then within those 2 years, refinance and then permanently keep your interest rate low. Now, that's one way to go about it. Another way to go about it right now is planning in advance. So when you have a timeline of, let's say, June, right? Because we just signed another buyer. Shout out them, another buyer to the BU family. They're trying to go in June, but we're looking at houses this weekend, right? To allow sufficient time to find deals, work with people. Because when you're in that rush, and this is where I found with buyers is when, I get people who come up to me, Blake, I need to buy a house next month.
Right.
Like just...
Bam, let's go, let's do it.
Which we do, and I've done it, and we can accommodate. However, this is where you're going to have some of that, you're giving away some of that leverage that you would have had you had more time. Because the one who wants it the most ends up losing. Mm-hmm. So you can't want it more than the seller wants it, right? So if you have yourself, enough time frame, this gives you enough time to play the game, negotiate, try to get credit, and do all that. Because worst case, if it doesn't work out,
at least you're ready.
You're ready, and you have enough time to go out and find another deal.
Yeah.
Right. But if you don't have time, then that deal becomes very important. Your livelihood depends on it. And now you're stuck with whatever the terms are of that contract. So I would say planning in advance is another thing that you can do. And then working with a realtor or a real estate team or LO who is actively hunting for new deals in your area. Right. So one thing that is probably really important for you to ask a realtor, because I know, realtors get a bad rep and we're just showing houses. We don't really do much.
Escrow.
And we get paid too much and it's really easy. Now, one thing I would, dare you guys to do and ask your realtor this is say, hey, how are you finding deals before they hit Redfin, before they hit Zillow? What's your guys' game plan to get me into a house that maybe isn't on the market? What is it? And then see how they react to that.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they can't deliberately give you a full breakdown of, hey, this is how we operate on day-to-day basis, this is how we get our listings, this is how we can help you and give you a competitive edge, then that's concerning. Because if they're just waiting for what's on Redfin and Zillow, which is not bad, but if you're talking about how can we help you succeed, how can you get that edge, how can you do better, waiting for Redfin and Zillow is not going to give you a competitive edge. Everyone has access to them. And don't get me wrong, I'm guilty of scrolling through Zillow and Redfin. I've done that, Miami, Moreno Valley, Riverside County. I'm always on there looking, but
it's a great starting point. I mean, but you're looking at houses that everybody else is already looking. Correct. And as we know, Zillow and these big companies are just marketing companies that want to lead generate and get your information to then go solicit you for.
They literally, if you're working with the Zillow agent, they bought that.
Yeah.
They bought you. I'm not trying to shoot any shots, but I am.
It's honestly, but I guess it's not shooting shots when it's the truth. You can look this up. It's information that is, open to the public.
If you have a credit card
or not out here, just how to say exposing anything that is already out there to be known. We're just, letting people know how it really is.
Yeah. So if you're working with the Zillow agent, nothing, not right or wrong. It's just they probably paid for you, and that just speaks volumes. Now, if you're working with somebody who is referred to you by another friend, somebody who's kind of already been seasoned, somebody who's reputable, then that's different. And if you're working with somebody who's actively finding you deals, so if they tell you, hey, look, I have a team of 7, 8, 10, 20, 50 people. We're going through X amount of records every single week. Within these records, we typically pull 2 to 3 listings every single week. So with these 2 to 3 listings and you being one of our buyers, you actually get first dibs before we put it on the market. If your realtor isn't telling you that kind of stuff, then you're probably maybe missing a few puzzle pieces that could really help you save money, because an off-market deal can save you anywhere from 2% up to 10%. I've seen. It's
no, of
insane.
course. And let's bring it back to the topic of giving the buyer some tips, So from what you've said is working with the team, doing tons of research, and over on my end for the finance side is do tons of research as far as understanding your financials, how much debts you have, how much you're paying a month, and understanding what money you have left over to really be able to buy a house, right?
Yep.
One of the things I will let you know is that you have to understand how to navigate through your debt to income ratio. So adding up all your debts that are reported to your credit, then dividing them by your gross income, which is your income when it looks nice and fair. And then what's left over is going to give you a percentage, right? That percentage is going to dictate what loan, if you're approved, and how lenders will look at you as far as the risk factor and if you're eligible to get that loan that you want.
Yep.
So doing this, doing this formula will let you know exactly how much money you have left over and let you know if you qualify for that mortgage. So if you want a little bit more in depth of how that works out in your flavor, reach out to us and I'd love to give you analysis of what your debt to income ratio looks.
Yep.
But let's keep moving forward. We have another one that we just briefly talked about, which is how is technology changing the way that we buy and sell homes. And we already kind of briefly touched subject on that, whereas as we saw these previous years when in 2020 real estate was just, crazy mayhem. And we saw a lot of the Glassdoor, Zillow, Redfins try to reach their hand in the real estate cookie jar. But as we saw, it didn't work out so well. One of the things I will say is that, these big tech companies are great. They have a lot of resources and they do provide a lot of information that's helpful. But real estate is a people-to-people business. And there's nothing like being able to sit down, understand the terms, understand the people's feelings, because this is people's biggest purchase, if not one of the biggest purchases that they're doing.
Their livelihood.
So you want to do it with somebody that cares, that understands your goals, and that really you could trust your feelings with them. Because if you're speaking to a company or a big corporate entity, do you think they really care what your feelings are or
Your
how
number.
you feel about your goals? All they care about is another check, another paycheck, another number that they could just get through their assembly line to be able to, at the end, profit for their investors.
Yeah. And I couldn't have said it better myself again, brother. It's just what he said, right? But no, I mean, to Brian's point, I think both Mortgage Heroes and Better United, obviously the team that we work with,
100%.
We're definitely more family oriented.
Yeah.
Now, we're not a big corporation, and some people might like the big corporation style. But for us personally, I pride myself in getting to know families, getting to know what their what their wants and needs are. What makes them, what are they losing sleep over at night? What can I do to make better? Where is there a problem that I can maybe fix and just amplify and make their life better? So yeah, we're not a big corporation, but we are very, very hands-on, very caring, and very giving with our clients because we treat them like family, at the end of the day. So we might not be the biggest, Zillow or Redfin or whatever, but we are very impactful with the people that do decide to work with us. And almost 90% of our business is referral-based, and that speaks volumes, right?
Yep.
Because I'm not going to get referrals. Brian's not going to get referrals if we're doing bad jobs for people. We're getting referrals from not even doing good jobs, because if you do a good job now, it's expected.
Exactly.
It's expected. So you have to really push above and beyond past expectations for that referral. And for us having 90% of our business being referrals, that just speaks volumes on how our clients feel about us 100%. And the service that we provide. Because at the end of the day, dude, I take pride. When we met with this client yesterday, I was like, look, I take pride and making sure that this is going to be a good fit for you, a good fit for me, and that we're making your life better. And if I feel like I can't make your life better, then I don't want to work with you. Not just because I don't like you. It's just like maybe the problem you're having is just not something that I can solve or amplify or make better. So that's one thing that I know I pride myself on. Mortgage Heroes prides themselves on. So when you work with us, you do get that more family feeling. It's full transparency. And I know words are kind of, useless. It's more actions, but just look at the proof is in the pudding, the only problem you're going to have when you work with us is that you didn't meet us sooner and buy a house before, that's the biggest problem you're going to have.
I like that problem, bro. But no, it's true. I feel like, working with a team that's more personalized and more catered to your goals, it almost feels like, this is kind of like a personalized experience, right?
Yeah.
And that's what every real estate transaction is, a personalized experience. It's not a one size fits all. And if they do tell you it's a one size fits all, then run.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you put it? I mean, it's kind of, if you look at it like in a classroom setting versus a private tutor, right? Like, yeah, you might still get some good information in a classroom setting, but you're never going to get the same hands-on, that experience of working with somebody one-on-one, because who do you think is going to have a better result? Somebody who's in a classroom setting where one teacher is dividing all of his attention to hundreds of students, or one teacher who's devoting all his time into one student? Who do you think is going to have the best results?
I mean, we could already know what that answer is, and if you think the other one, then I don't know.
Yeah. So that's huge. Actually, I was just talking to my niece. I know squirrel sidetrack, but I was talking to my niece the other day, and she was trying to get into real estate. She's graduating high school, so she's like, "Hey, I'm trying to do real estate. Maybe I can't really decide." So, one thing we ended up talking about was I was like, "Hey, it really just comes down to what you want to do and what you're gonna make you happy." Because I was like, "Don't do real estate as part time." Because she was like, "Well, I could just do it part time, right, Blake? Uncle Blake, I could do it."
Can.
And then she's a soccer player, right?
Okay.
So I was like, let me get it in her words, right? So I was like, in her world and something that she can digest as a somebody who's coming out of high school. And I was like, look, just think about it like this: if you were going to play soccer, right, and you want to be a professional soccer player, right? Do you think that soccer player that plays professionally, do they play every single day, or do they just play on the weekends sometimes?
Every day, bro.
Right? And that's what makes them a pro. Now, if you only play on the weekends sometimes, and it's every now and then when you can, do you think that person's going to make that pro level eventually? Maybe, but the chances are a lot slimmer because they're not devoting their whole life. Anybody who's successful devotes their whole life into one thing, and then it kind of clicked with her.
Yep.
She's like, right. So I'm like, it doesn't have to be real estate. Although, I would be very proud uncle.
She's like, I'm joining the soccer academy, going full time.
Yeah. I'd be a very proud uncle if she goes to real estate. But it's just anything she wants to do in life. And I tell this to the agents and to her as well. And I was like, hey, anything you decide to do, just give it 100%. And don't sell yourself short. So don't be like, oh, if this doesn't work out. No, you have to burn the boats, burn the bridges, right? And there's no retreat. So if you decide, hey, this is what I'm going to do, then great, give it 100%, no turning back. There's no plan B, and go all in. And that's where you're going to find out that you're going to succeed because you have no option. There's no failure. Oh, if I mess up, there's no that's it.
There's no plan B.
Yeah, you have to pick back up, start over again. Business is never going to be, sunshine and rainbows all the time. If you don't have problems in business, you're not doing enough business. I'll just tell you that right now.
100%. 100%. And, you couldn't have said it any better. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head with that one. I mean, being passionate about what you do, being really disciplined and staying consistent over the long term, you're going to start to see results that, other people won't get if they're not consistent, if they're not, on it as much as you are. So yeah, 100%, whatever it is that you choose, go 100% full into it. And if you don't, then don't, honestly.
Yeah. And you could tell when somebody's really invested or into something just by how they respond, how they act, how they communicate things.
Andy said one of the things today, and I'm going to give him credit. He said your patterns predict your potential, or your potential is predicted by your patterns, right? So you whatever you do and how your habits are, that's going to determine your trajectory of success. So I mean, just look at your habits, do a self inventory, and if your habits aren't where they need to be, then that's what's going to help you figure out what direction you want to move into. But bringing it back to real estate.
Sorry, I thought we were on live for a second.
I know, right? But one of the hot questions that I have been getting and I've been seeing all over is, where are home prices heading in 2023? So I'll let you go first. I got my point of views, but I want to go ahead and hear what you got to say.
Well, since we do have a few listings, we're actually dropping another listing in Spring Valley, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Just plug it right there off of Hamashaw Boulevard. So if you are looking for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath around the $680K mark, please feel free to reach out. You've seen it first right here on Brian Len's Money Podcast. It's not even open to the public yet. Those are the off-market deals that we're talking about.
Yep.
But anyways, to answer your question, Brian, real estate market and the house prices, not looking so great right now. Definitely sellers are losing a little bit of equity.
Yeah.
Interest rates do play a big factor. Like I said, anytime interest rates go up, prices go down. Not as drastically as you might think, though. Reason I know it's specifically more in the San Diego area is because I meet with sellers, and usually they're not going to go on the market for a few months.
Yeah.
Like they don't, meet and then the next day it's on the market. So
Correct.
I get to watch how neighborhoods are performing on San Diego and really closely. And I'm seeing a slight decrease. I would say we're probably, it's tough to put a number on it. On average, I'd probably see maybe 2% to maybe 5% decrease. I mean, and these are spitballing numbers based off just what I'm seeing, because houses that I comped out this one Spring Valley was maybe around 720, maybe 730 before,
right?
And now we're pushing maybe 700.
Okay.
So what's 20, 30 grand of seven?
Don't have my calculator.
So let's go 10% of 10% of 700,000, 70, right? So half of that would be 35, right? So that'd be 5%, and we're around 720. So yeah, right around the 2 to 5%, I would say, of a decline, and that's just using real numbers. But yeah, no, prices have gone down a bit. Not necessarily a bad thing because it is stabilizing.
Yeah.
You can't be at the peak high price, peak low interest rates forever. So it's stabilizing, and I would say it's becoming more of a norm, right? We're going into a normal market now. I'm not saying we're like going crazy. Everything just plummeted out of nowhere.
Correct.
2 to 5% is not that crazy. And then depending on the house and if it needs repairs and stuff like that, then obviously you can
take that into consideration.
You can move that around however you need to. But yeah, no, I would say, slight decrease in prices. I would say that they're still going to kind of go down maybe a little bit more as we're progressing. If interest rates keep going up, home prices are going to reflect that a little bit. However, I will say this, we still don't have enough inventory.
100%.
Right?
And
the demand is still high and inventory is still low. So I think that's a really big factor why we're not seeing like a 10% or like a 20% decrease. Like it's very marginal. It's noticeable, but it's marginal. It's not going to be nothing that's, to lose sleep over.
I believe that 2020, 2021, and even some of 2022, we saw the height and the hype of the real estate market. Yep. And although I do see houses starting to come down in prices, I don't foresee the market crashing and burning due to what you just said.
Yep.
The housing inventory is so low. And if you compare it to 2008, in 2008, we were so over leveraged with so many inventory that houses dropped in value so quickly that people went underwater on their loans and the value of their houses. Now, flip side to 2023, we don't even have enough inventory for 3 months, or at least 3 months, right? Yep. So the demand and the people that still want to buy is what's holding the prices, at a stable, but, at a lower gradual than what it was before in 2021, 2022, and 2020. Yep. So my prediction is that in some markets, it's going to dip lower than others and not crash and burn, but you will see the dips to go back to what Blake said, a normal market, because you have to understand that 2020 and all of COVID influenced these artificial home prices because of the low rates, the demand, and the money that was just poured into the market. Now, all that's retracting, and we're starting to see the effects of what really, what COVID really did to the economy, and we're starting to notice it in these things, and as far as home prices and how the relationship with the real estate market is going to go down. Yep. So I believe for the rest of the year, houses are going to try to stabilize, find a place, but they're not going to crash. So if a house makes sense, the payment is good, you can afford it, and it has everything you need, act now. Don't try to time the market, because you can get squeezed out, and before you know it, you won't be able to afford the house that you want, and you'll be in a worse situation. Now, as far as interest rate, it's a temporary bandit, like Blake said. So what goes up must come down. So in 2-3 years, when they do, you can refinance right back down. Yep. So before we let you guys go for the first episode of the Brian Lenz Money Show, I wanted to ask you, Blake, what is the one thing that you want to leave the audience with, as far as what's the one key thing to look into in 2023 if you're looking to make a move, whether it be an investment property, a second time house, or your first time house that you're buying?
Just one piece of advice.
You could give me one long piece, bro.
Just one piece. If you're looking to do anything in real estate, really, I think what you have to do is look for a partner. Right, look for a long-term relationship partner, somebody who understands your vision and where you want to go, and not just trying to get you into one house right now, but what's the actual long-term goal of you. So find somebody who's going to be a partner and say, hey, look, I'm going to help you get there, and this is how I'm going to help you get there. So Realtor, LO, you got to have real estate agent, loan officer. That's probably like your two key players that you're going to need to get if you're trying to make a move. And I would just say that, if I had to do it in one, get a partner, LO, and real estate agent. That's what's going to really make your difference, because those are the people that are going to be in the trenches. Yeah. That can find you deals, that have the connections, that have the contractors, that have people that are out of state, in state. They've done rentals, done ADUs, done Airbnbs. whatever your plan is in real estate, just talk to a LO, a real estate agent. That way they can really go ahead. Because I mean, we're doing sub twos now. They're doing
innovations, wholesales. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there that you can do. And it's more important now than ever to create your team with people that have the same, goals and visions. And more than anything, be prepared. And that was my number one thing that, I'd say is do tons of research, be prepared, and more than ever find people that have the same mindset, same goals, so that you guys can come together and create those together instead of clash.
Yeah. And I know researching might be scary.
I don't know what that is.
Might be a little scary to research. However, I think when we say research, we're not saying for you to go figure out the whole entire market on your own.
No.
We're saying, I think, to my understanding, when you say research, it's like research who you're going to be working with, research what they, because there's no way, like just going back to that soccer analogy, like if this is all Brian does and this is all I do, and we do this every single day, we're the pros, and you do it sometimes or part-time, who do you think is going to have a more competitive edge? Who's going to be able to put up more numbers on the scoreboard? Who's going to get you a better deal? Not saying that you're not capable, because you're absolutely capable. If you can buy a house, you're capable of a lot of things, right? But it's just who's going to be the one that you want. It's just like an attorney, right? You're not going to show up to court. Yeah, you can represent yourself. But why do you bring an attorney in? What's the benefit?
Because they know more.
They know more. They know the contracts. They know the system. They know how to work different angles. And that's exactly why I would say my best advice is talk to a real estate agent and an LO, because they are the ones that are in it every single day. And maybe you're not, but you don't need to be.
100%. And as far as research, is like research your goals, research your budgets, research what you're comfortable with, and understand what it is that you personally can do to put yourself ahead. And then let the professionals, give you that vision and help you, guide you through it, so that you're able to get to the end, which is your goal.
Yep. 100%.
So, that being said, Blake, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. The first of bi-weekly podcast. Welcome to the Brian Lenz Money Show, and I will be back in 2 weeks. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you smash that like button, and turn on your post notifications so you never miss out on a video. Yes. And other than that, guys, please share this with everybody. I'll see you guys
on the next one.
On the next one.
Peace.